Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Chats with H and N. No.
Yep.
Really? You should try and do an intro. Do an intro in
I
this.
need some kind of energy now.
And guess what? Today is our 20th episode, and I think
Yeah.
that we should do something like for 20.
20 awesome episodes.
Yeah, we should totally try and do something. We'll see.
We'll see.
But today wanted to just have a conversation with you guys because we've been talking about how we finally found attraction. We look at like friction, attraction, connection, physics, chemistry, mathematics, English, all the subjects. How we started just like liking each other and eventually loving each other and having 3 kids after that episode. So Harry and I met in secondary school.
Yeah.
And we sat right next to each other for 3 years. And the first year, SS1, it was interesting because he was right next to me. I kind of feel like he liked me, but I'll let him give his part.
Okay.
But I didn't, like, my attention was not on him. It was on, like, some other situation. Let me just put it that way. So, yeah, so it wasn't like love at first sight, but it could have been. If he had positioned himself well, it could have been love at first sight.
And position well as a
Like, I don't know,
Okay.
like something. but how was it for you? Like, did you so when you saw me, did you realize that, man, the bone of my bones is literally at arm's length?
No, I didn't realize that actually.
Right? Am I not worthy of love at first sight?
You are worthy, but I didn't
Hey!
realize it, you know.
Like, honestly though, like Harry is knocking on things. Like, am I not?
It's not about being worthy, you know. It's just I didn't realize that. And if I asked you at that time, you'd have bounced me. So
I wouldn't have bounced you though.
Yeah.
I would have just waited to slow down. I wouldn't have bounced him. It would have been really, really like cool. But yeah, so I think for both of us, it wasn't necessarily love at first sight. Like when I saw him, I was not like, man, who is this drop dead, gorgeous young man? And give me a piece of him was not my first thought.
yeah.
That was not your first thought.
No.
Even though I could be like worthy of something like that.
Oh yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
were, but
Yeah.
it wasn't my
We
first
just want to
time.
put it out there, just clarifying things. So we just became friends and
Yeah.
became really close friends. I think our friendship really sparked in like SS2. And we spent a lot of time together. We studied together. We talked and talked. I don't know what we're talking about in SS, but just getting to know like our family background, getting like how you know a friend is what
Yeah.
we're doing. And after secondary school, we still were not like in that love stage. We're still at the friendship stage. Would you say that?
Yeah, it was a lot of friendship. I think that we were just talking about
Yeah.
let's get to know each other. We realized that we had some similar interests, and the conversation was really, really good. I think it was
Yeah.
really, really good. So, I think I
Started
really like
talking
that.
more.
Yeah.
Like you're calling me more. I was like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Like it's nice. So I think that for us, it definitely wasn't love at first sight, but the attraction grew. It gradually grew, and we have a lot of people asking us. So how does do you just find somebody, see the person, and find the attraction? I think that for some people, you meet somebody and there's something that attracts you to them.
Yeah.
And that is normal, right? But then you want to make sure that it's deeper than just attraction. You know, you want to take it to the next level when you really get to know the person. I think that for us, because we had spent years getting to know each other, talking, we had the same friends in common, we liked almost the same thing. I got to know Harry for who he was. I knew his values, which is so important. I knew the things that mattered to him. And he also knew the things that mattered to me. So at the point where I wanted to take it to the next level, I knew that it was going to go to the next level, right? It was like more something like you just know.
Yeah, I think it was like a gradual transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
It just made sense.
It just made sense. Yes, that's the word. I think it just
Yeah.
made sense that though, at this stage of our friendship,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be good to explore the possibility
Yeah.
of a relationship. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes people get hesitant at that stage because you also don't want a situation where
You mess up the friendship.
friendship,
Oh, like I saw you always as a church brother. Meanwhile, my mother didn't even give birth to you. Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah. So I mean,
So was that a thing for you? Like, were you kind of wondering, like, how is this going to be, like, from friend to like girlfriend?
yeah. I mean, I think at the even just trying to make that transition, I think I was a bit hesitant at the beginning. Because I was wondering, what if it's a no and then it's for the
Yeah.
friendship?
Yeah.
And so I think I spoke to a friend who really encouraged me.
Yes.
just,
Thank you, friend. You know who you are.
I just told me to go for it. I mean, especially
Yeah.
if the signs are there, why not go for it? And
The
so,
signs are there. Like what signs?
yeah, because I remember someone was teasing us, and then you asked
Yes.
us, you asked me what do I think about what the person was saying?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The thing, guys, we are always telling you one. The thing about guys that they want you to tell direct. We don't do the direct type of thing, but there are always hints. Because for me, like I think I knew at some point that this is the only guy I'm talking to. This is the only guy that's. I mean, there were other guys that kind of liked me, but you're the only one that, there was that connection, our values matched, like what we wanted to do in the future. Everything just seemed, and I liked you. I mean, I thought that you were, look at his face, guys. Like, look at you.
But I wasn't like this.
He
so.
didn't know. We should have inserted a picture of there before. It was a leap of faith. It's all I can say. I trusted God that that this would come out of the dust. But I still liked what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine somebody else with this man? Like, I'll be weeping by now. So I think that what happened was that I think that naturally we knew that it was the next step, but like you said, you don't want to mess up the vibe. You don't want to mess up the friendship. So I kept leaving hints. First of all, we're talking all the time.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a clear sign that if you're the one I'm talking to all the time, like, you should know that your girl is interested. And and then I would say, oh, so have you heard that this person said this about us? Just trying to see where his head is at, because as girls as well, you don't want to, just like guys, you don't want to get your heart broken. You don't want to be embarrassed. So kind of testing. And even if there was no one saying it, I would have said, hey, some of my friends were saying this, so what do you think? Even if no one was saying it, because I just want to get to know where his mind is at. So I think there was a little bit of that till you finally asked me out.
Yeah.
So what happened for you to finally say, you know what, I don't care? After your friend spoke to
No,
you.
I think I actually cared, but I also wasn't sure. So I think that the friend just helped me with some clarity. So it's not as if I
So
did
what did your friend tell you?
I think the friend told me that I mean there's this thing you guys are talking all the time.
Yes.
And
Spending a lot of time together.
And if you like it, go for it.
Yes.
And so
Shoot your shot. He didn't miss.
Yeah, so I mean I went for it, and I mean, so ever since then it's been good, it's been awesome. So I think that it just was a natural transition.
Yeah.
Because I think you need that friendship to be able to fuel the relationship.
Yeah.
Because
it's always the basis,
Yeah.
and now that we are married, we still have that friendship. That is always the core. I know that I cannot have this kind of friendship with anybody else. Like, Harry is a person I want to tell everything to, and it's been that way since we met and we became friends. And so how did we transition from dating to marriage? Because a lot of people ask us that. So how do you take it to the next level of marriage? Because marriage is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so how do you think we successfully did that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we did for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that we're at a stage where, I mean, we're done with school. For us, we're done with school.
Yeah.
And we're working And it just felt natural that, I mean, at this point, you've been dating. I mean, what else are you trying to look
For 6 years dating.
Yeah, what else are you trying to wait for? I mean, if this is the person you're convinced about, there's nothing that is making you doubt your decision. So I think that the natural transition was to be that you want to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Yeah.
You'll be talking about it all throughout the dating period. So,
yeah.
I mean, it just felt natural to be able to just transition into that. And there was no hesitancy. There was no conflict or contention with him. So, and it just felt natural,
Yeah. I think that because it was friendship, we just knew at some point, and it was intentional dating. And I think that's one thing that is so key. Like, you don't meet somebody and then the next day you start dating them. You don't also like not know the person at all and say, I'll date you to know you. I think that you know the person a bit. You should know something about the person that makes you want to take that step of intentional dating. And during that intentional dating time, you're digging further. You're getting to know each other further. It's not concrete that you get married, but you're trying to really dig into the conversations, because at that point you are promising each other that I'm solely yours, you're solely mine, and so I'm dedicated to knowing you and you are dedicated to knowing me. I am free, and you should give me the opportunity to ask you the uncomfortable questions, to dig into your family life, to ask you questions about that. Don't get offended, because that's what intentional dating is about. And so for us, we knew that we're giving each other the permission to dig further into our lives and to kind of put all the vulnerabilities aside and the insecurities aside and project your authentic self, because this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And you want to make sure that you are really sure about it. I love what she said about there were no doubts. And you know, there are times where you're dating someone, but your mind is on somebody else. And so when it's time for you to make a serious commitment of marriage, you start to, question it. And it's because your heart is still with somebody else, even though you want to go this way. So I always say, make sure that you've broken up with all the things that need to be broken up with. Because you cannot have that baggage in going into marriage. It's not going to work. Yeah. And I think for us, we had done that work. We had made sure that the back gate was closed. The only gate open was what was ahead of us. And it just made us more confident to take that step, knowing that we've done this for 6 years. We have been open and honest with each other. Listen, 6 years of long distance, Harry and I had some really deep conversations. And at that point, I think it was those times, it's knowing what your boundaries were, knowing what you're not going to compromise on, knowing how you treated people, knowing how you loved your mom, like knowing all these things about him, knowing how he was serving in church and dedicated to God. His passion for God was clear. And I didn't have any question about your integrity. I didn't have any questions about your faith. I didn't have any questions about how he was going to lead our family. It wasn't a question for me. And once I got to that point, I knew that I could submit to this guy. I could submit to the vision. He painted a clear picture. That's one thing I tell people, guys. Paint a clear picture of your vision. Because once your vision is clear in the woman's mind, she can now make a decision comfortably and confidently that she's going to submit to the vision to the vision that you painted, basically. So that's basically what happened, I think, for me. Like, it was easy.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just when you find somebody who really loves you for who you are. They are there for you, they support you, they stand by you, they believe in your vision and your dreams. I think that it's just very important that you cherish those things. There are things that are very valuable, and sometimes we focus on other things and not the very valuable conversations or the person's character or the person's vision or the person's desires, there are some things that sometimes guys will get distracted about. But you should look when you find a woman who really loves you for who you are and cherishes you and believes in where you are going to, believes in where you are today, and also believes more in your future. I think that you shouldn't hesitate in making a decision. I mean, once you find that person, you should really stick to that person. Yeah. And I think that it will travel far, definitely.
Like, stop looking at all the specs that you want in terms of the outward. The outward is nice, I mean, he's obviously a handsome man, and I'm obviously like 129%. Maybe I said 130 because the 29 was somewhere. 130, like all the way attracted to him. But like, I don't know if you've ever liked somebody, like physically, and when you started talking to them, you're like, how did this guy that I thought was handsome or this lady I thought was beautiful, how is she now not looking as beautiful? It's because what is inside shines more than what is outside. What is outside is important, but really you commit. I talk about all the time that we fall in love with people's values. We fall in love with their morals, with what they stand for, not necessarily with the outward. And you also stay in love because of what is inside. And so it's important that you are really focused on what is inside. Stop looking at the exterior. Because some of you guys, especially the guys are hesitant to get married. And I think that some of it is because you have a spec of how she should look like. You have a spec of how the outward should look like. And once she's not meeting those specs, you can't commit to the person that is beautiful inside and out. And we have to learn to commit. Those are the things that last. Those are the things that don't change. And for me, that was what was important for me, that you love me, not based on what you saw, because all this can fade away, right? And so it's important that you love me for who I am on the inside, what I bring, what I say, you value it. You know, all of these things that are truly important to us are the things that we are saying I do too. You know, yeah.
Yeah, so we hope that this episode has been a blessing to you.
Yes.
And we can't wait to catch you in our next episode as well.
Yeah.
Have an awesome
Yes.
weekend, guys. All right, take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.